Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Dr. Cloud Show. It is good to be with you on the start of a new week. And if you're new to the program, we welcome you. You can call in during this hour. It is the number to call is 844-940-2774. That's 844-940-2774. And also, if you're new to the program, this is a program where we talk about life and all the stuff that we celebrate, like relationships and reaching our goals and dreams and feeling good and thriving, as well as when those moments aren't like that, like, we're hurting in some way or depressed or anxious or worried or addicted or any of that. Or relationally, if you've got a relationship that you want to make better, which is most of us, we have those, right? Extended family, marriage, dating, kids, dinosaurs, just, dogs, whatever. We can talk about those. And then reaching those dreams and goals, one of my favorite topics. So call us, 844-940-2774. And it is, while the phones are loading up there, I want to take a moment, as I do in the beginning of every program, and just share a few thoughts about things that have been on my mind. And one of the things that's on my mind today is mothers, because yesterday was Mother's Day. And first of all, I want to start with celebrating all of you moms out there. I've said it before on this program, and I'll say it again, and especially today, that mothering is the most foundational, and I would say in some ways, now get this right, in some ways, the most important relationship in life, because it does start that very foundation of mother, mom, mama, or whoever is in that mothering role of that very, very first connection. And that's actually how our little brains get formed. You've heard the research. You take babies that grow up in institutions, and you feed them and water them and take care of all their physical needs, and yet they're not held, and they're not nurtured, and they're not connected with. And as we know so much from the neuroscience that's available to us now, that they're not seen, they're not validated, they're not, the technical term is they're not mirrored. They were actually wired to take in that kind of focus and attention, and somebody being with us and present with us emotionally, that begins to build the person from the foundation. And it is so many times it's mama who does that, or the person in the mothering role. Sometimes it's dad in the mothering role, but the function is the same. It is a connecting role. It is a nurturing role. It is a life-giving role. That's why Adam called Eve the mother of the living, because mamas do that. And I just want to celebrate all your moms out there that you don't get celebrated enough. I don't know why we don't have 1,000 Mother's Day every year. We should, but it's fundamental. So I want to celebrate that. Also, I want to notice, we all notice this. We know it. Sometimes we've lived it, some of us, and others haven't. And people who do. You might be married to somebody who didn't really have all the mothering that they needed, and they didn't have the connection they needed, and they didn't really get that tank filled up so it could run through life well. And for all of you who Mother's Day is difficult for, my heart goes out to you. But I want to tell you something, that here's what we know about humans, that when you don't have the mothering that we need, the need doesn't go away. And that hurts unless it gets met. And the great thing is, and I've seen this gazillions of times, that if someone has a mothering deficit, that can be healed. But you got to get the mothering that you need, even in adulthood. And that's what our community, sometimes it's friends, it's a spiritual community, it's a support network, it's a therapist, it's a recovery group. But wherever you, in your side of this, is you got to do like the little kid does. You got to make yourself vulnerable, and you got to open up, and you got to say, I need you. And then that community comes alongside, and they connect with that need, And that gets internalized by this incredible, incredible mystery that's wired into the universe of this mind-body connection, how the immaterial, the spiritual thing like love affects the material, our brains and our bodies. And here's what we know about those babies. If they're not loved, then their brains don't grow. You know, you can take pictures later and there's big voids up there and black spots where hard wiring didn't grow because they didn't have that nurturance. But then you get them, you know, you pull them out of that isolation, you start to connect with them, and that can be any of us up to age 3,000. And you start connecting, and you know what? It starts to grow. So let's celebrate mothers who are doing that. Let's celebrate mothering who are any of us that are in the role now of giving love, helping, connecting, coming alongside of and nurturing people that don't have it. And let's also celebrate the hope in the future for those of you who need to repair some mother wounds, that there is hope for that. And so I'm just going to take a few more minutes here while we're waiting for the, you know, all of you are calling right now. And so we're trying to get all that set up with the producers. But I want to take a few minutes. I'll give the number again, 844-940-2774, 844-940-2774. But I want to talk about just a little few components that moms do, that the mothering process does. And I've said it, you know, so far, number one is connection. And an emotional connection basically means that when one person is vulnerable, that another person comes alongside and answers that need with presence, with empathy, with care, with nurturance, with just being with. That's the most powerful thing in life, is the being with and your presence. And when somebody is present with somebody who has a need, that need gets connected, and there's a transformational moment that happens, and those get logged like putting pennies into a piggy bank. And it gets bigger and bigger, and then it starts to get full and starts to thrive. So that connection, being present, is the first thing. And then the second thing a good mama does is she doesn't possess that other one. She doesn't control that other one. The other one that connects with them, she also grants freedom and separateness so they can move away and go explore, you know, the toys and the backyard and later school and then life and then marriage. But that connection remains, but they're free while they're connected. And that incredible dynamic tension that never goes away in life of the people we love, we shouldn't feel controlled by, possessed by, or mastered by, or smothered by, but we should be able to move away and come back and move away and come back and be separate and free. So you see, a lot of times in that developmental process, that doesn't go well. And sometimes somebody, if they move away, you might have a guilt message. Moving away, being separate, being your own person, making your own choices, having your own boundaries, saying no, that gets interpreted as something bad. And then that basically kind of gets people into conflict. Or sometimes in the mothering process, when whoever it is mothering somebody makes the little one feel responsible for their feelings. Then you have enabling and codependency. So what mothering does is it gives us that combination of togetherness and separateness with boundaries. And a good mother also has her own boundaries and says to the child, you're not the only one in the universe. Mama says, no, you can't do that to me, or I need some space too. And not only is a child needing to learn to say the word, no, I'm separate, I can play now, they also need to be able to hear the word no and accept that. So this thing about connection and freedom is hardwired into the mothering process. And so I would hope for you that in your support network and your friends now, that you have deep, deep connections where if you have a need, there's somebody you can pick up and call and they're there for you. And if you don't have that, it should be paramount to find that in a good support system, support group, a good therapist, a recovery group, a church, a community. But I would want that connection for you, but also with people that celebrate your identity and your individual freedom and your separateness. And then when you say no, that your no is loved just as much as your yes. And that's a lot of what goes on in a good mothering process. And then to add to that, one more thing, that when you're not perfect, that's okay too. Doesn't mean she doesn't address it and say, hey, that wasn't good. But it means when something wasn't good and it's addressed or you fall down, that you don't lose love. So we're accepted and we're known as imperfect. And when somebody can get to a place where we can walk through life and feel like I'm imperfect and I've got flaws and I've got zits and, I fail and all of that. And the people that love us address that, but we don't lose their love and we don't lose their acceptance. That is Happy Mother's Day. And I want that for all of you. I want that for all of you. And again, sometimes it's mom that does that. Sometimes it's other people. Shout out to the grandmothers out there. There's so many of you that have provided this for your grandchildren. And I see it every day. Aunts and uncles and others that step in and provide that connection. Anyway, so Happy Mother's Day to all of you. And somebody from our team just said, we're getting a bunch of comments on my haircut. All right, I don't know how many of you tuned in on Saturday, but my hair was I was turning into a caveman over here with COVID lockdown. And so finally my wife said, enough. And so I said, well, what do you cut it? She goes, all right. And then I realized what I'd asked for, be careful of what you wish for, because she's never cut hair before. So she goes on YouTube and looks at this video of how to cut hair. And so I said, you know what, this is just too much comedy and terror and brain damage to not share it with the community. So we went on an Instagram live on Saturday. Maybe some of you were there. It's sort of like one of the scariest things. Anyway, it turned out okay. So thank you for joining us. Okay. So we're going to go to the phones. I'm going to give the number out one more time, 844-940-2774. If you're new to the program, welcome. And also I want to, tell you, we really need you to share the program, because we're doing this as long as, we feel like somebody's there listening, and my team has to put a lot of time into this, and we got to make it all worth their time and my time and your time to do this. So to do that, we need for people to know about the show. We don't have a lot, any way to advertise it except for you. So share it. Somebody can watch it 24 hours, around the clock. You can tune in anytime. There's just 1 hour you can call in. Okay. So there we are. Let's go to the phones and let's talk to here. I got to put on my glasses here. Carrie from somewhere in Indiana. Okay, I love that, Carrie. I don't know if you asked it this way, but here's the way it came up on my screen. It says, Carrie from Indiana, you're not dating, you're introverted, you're divorced. And here's what she said: how do I kick my own butt to get out and date? Carrie, you're my new hero.
Hi.
You are my new hero. I love people.
Oh, no way.
Their own butt. Because if we kick our own butt, nobody else has to kick our butt, right? Who wants to kick butts?
I don't. I know.
There you go.
I know. It's a mess.
Tell me how I can
I think
help you.
Well, when I went to counseling years and years off and on, my counselor, she said, we just need to write a book about you. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I that messed up?
Well,
and I had one counselor who literally cried when I was talking to her. She's like, I feel so sorry. Your life is so bad. And I was like, is it really that bad? I guess I never realized it was that bad. And I didn't want to focus on that. But yeah,
I bet that helped. Hey, wait a minute, but it probably helped you, right?
I probably did. But no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't.
Well, let me comment on this, because a lot of times people walk around, I'm hurting so bad, but they're thinking, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I pull this off? Why can't I function? And then sometimes it takes some outside eyes to look at it and go, are you kidding me? With everything that's happened to you, it's totally understandable. And they have empathy for that and they care for that. And it kind of helps normalize it. Well, no wonder I'm feeling this way. Right. And so that's what I meant.
I think I was kind of numb, because I've had for my whole entire childhood, I've had a nightmare childhood with parents and siblings. So I learned to hold my feelings in of hurt and anger. I wasn't allowed to express emotions of tear and crying. So I think when things happened, I didn't accept it. And then I was taught, you don't accept these things that happen and you put them in a cubby in your brain. And then year after year, when issues happen, you cubby them, in a little cubby area of your brain, like a computer maybe. And then when I went through another type of counseling, they pulled all this out of me that I had not dealt with. And then I lost it and I went into PTSD and panic attack mode. And then I couldn't function for the longest time. And then I started getting better.
How long?
Which is good. I guess that's, well, actually I still have issues, and my son's 21.
Okay. Well, so tell me your question. How do we get to, the butt kicking that you were referring to?
Yeah. Because I really want to date and I know I have a lot to offer. I'm not bragging, but I am a very kind-hearted person. I'm like the Walton's Mountain girl. A little house on the prairie. That's me. And, I dated a few guys after my last son was born. I was abandoned with my son when I was pregnant. And I'm like, that's okay. I can deal with it. And I did. And he had a lot of medical issues where he was special needs. And he wasn't born with that. It was an incident that happened with my sister, what happened to him while she was babysitting. But I'm not beside. Anyway, I had guys that I dated and says, you should adopt him out. And he was highly functional, but he was still under the category of special needs and all that.
How old is he now?
And now he's 21, and you wouldn't even know he had an issue.
Oh, he's the one you referred to.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, God bless you.
I had guys, thank you. I had guys say, you need to adopt him out. You're too old. Of course, I was 40 when I had him, and I'm 61 now. And I tried to date when I had him, but then I was like, I'm not giving away my son because this man doesn't like him or he wants me not to date him. And I'm sorry for the noise. I have my grandbaby today, one of them.
Okay.
And she just
give me your question. Give me your question.
How do I get my buns in gear? Because I want to date, but I'm afraid to date because I don't know what to say to guys. I don't even know how to talk to a guy anymore, I feel like. Even on a one-on-one, like Memo's on the phone, baby. Like a church activity, or I don't even know what to say to them. I don't know what to say, and I don't know. It's just low self-esteem.
Carrie,
yes.
Carrie. Okay, here's what I'm struggling with. Okay, you and I have been on this date here for a few minutes, right? We're on a radio date.
Well,
here.
But you're married, so I wouldn't go that far. But thank you.
Well, okay, pick another word. All right.
Okay, friendship comments. Right. Okay, I know you do. Friendship comments.
My point is, you're talking to me like a superstar. You're making me laugh.
But I can't see you. I can't see you.
You can't see me. Well,
but I can't see you, and you can't see me. So, and I may never hear from you again. Do you know what I mean? Does that sound weird?
No, it doesn't sound weird. And in fact, you just hit on the answer to your whole problem.
What is it, doctor?
I'm going to tell you. You've taken the risk out of it.
Yeah.
I can't see you. You can't see me. And so what happens when there's no risk in it for you, what you interpret as risk? The risk goes down, Carrie emerges. The risk goes down, the anxiety goes down, the fear of rejection, the fear of judgment, the fear of telling you you can't date when you have a son, the fear of whatever it is, the fear of the memory of your siblings and your family like you described. All that goes away because that risk is down And now Carrie emerges, and we see Carrie. And see, you have hit on it so well that so many people, even when they do date, they've got so much on the line. It's like you're standing in Vegas and you put all your chips on red, and this date is, the big bet. And I hope this person, accepts me and likes me, and they have so much power that it reduces you and you can't show up. Right? So,
right.
What we got to do, let's take the risk out of it.
Okay.
All right. So, very important when you're getting, moving through anxiety, which this is, then you move through little bitty steps and you start with something that is no risk. All
Just like that movie, What About Bob? Baby steps.
The most hated movie in my brain ever, but I know everybody else likes it. But baby steps. I know everybody loves What About Bob. Baby steps. All right, baby steps. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to copy my book, How to Get a Date Worth Keeping.
I know I wrote that down, and I've been looking for it on the half price bookstore. So I'll get it. I will get that.
Okay, so here's what it starts with. Dating is not about marriage. Dating's not about finding the one. Dating is about just having a social interaction with somebody and going on a learning experience.
Communicating again.
Communicating, but there's nothing on the line. Okay, there's nothing at risk. If you're just seeing it as, I'm just going to meet a person and have a nice lunch or something. So I don't even want you to go that far yet. What I would suggest is you go to these gatherings that you're talking about. You said to church or wherever it is. And I just want you to practice without dating in your head. I just want you to practice talking to people. Okay. And in your
I
head,
can talk to girls all day.
I'm all right. Well,
does that sound right?
Yeah, but that's not what's at risk for you. I want you to talk to some men. And maybe what you do is you find a really, really no risk situation. Join a small group that's a mixed group where there's men and women in there, not for the purpose of dating, but that you're just talking. And what happens is, and with friends, I want you to be aware when you're talking to men. I want you to be aware of practicing talking to them and desensitize that. Okay. And then take the risk out of it. And then have you ever joined a dating service?
Yes, I have. And years back, and I dated, and I don't know why, I find the wrong guys.
Of course you're going to find the wrong guy. I go buy a shirt. I'm going to find 8,000 shirts that I don't like and don't fit either. But you don't stop at one, right? And you don't.
Right, I didn't.
Okay, fine. But you don't pick up the first one that likes you.
Yeah. Right. True. Right. Shop around and, be a little bit selective. I understand that. And just
a little bit selective. I'd be
a lot, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't be that. Now, personally, if you read the book, it's going to tell you just going out on a date, hardly be selective at all other than personal safety. Go out with anybody just to get to know people and practice your skills. But I want you to start in the non-dating arena. And I want you to notice what happens when you talk to a man. Okay. And just start to talk.
They usually start complimenting me. And I feel uncomfortable.
All right. Well, then I want you to
I'm not used to having compliments.
Well, you're not used to them because you're warding them off, right? You're not letting them get in, right? So again, do you have a counselor?
I need to get another one because I haven't in a while. But yeah, I need to get another one. And I just recently moved out of town, so I'm going to find one out here. But I haven't got around to it yet. I need to. Okay,
so do you have any men friends? Like are you in a small group where there's men friends there that there's no danger?
At one, but that was before I moved, and I haven't been able to get that. I am still in contact, which is really weird. Okay, go ahead.
I just want you to get around some men, and I want you to start to interact that are safe men that you're not going to date or that aren't going to date you. And I just want you to start interacting and noticing and being aware of that you're talking to a man. What's this like? They compliment me. What does that feel like? Oh, I need to learn to say, well, that's nice. Thank you very much. And don't say, oh, that's not true. Oh, no. Don't ward it off. How are
Yeah.
you going to ever take something in where you're hitting it away all the time? And I just want you to become aware of how you feel talking to men and practice there, and then gradually move out from there. And ultimately, maybe you want to join 3 or 4 sites and go out on some safe dates and just practice. But I would like for you to have somebody walking through this process with you, like a good counselor, and saying, you know what, I need to learn how to talk to men and feel comfortable. That's my big issue. And focus on
Yeah.
that and get in some environments where you can do that as well. Okay. Just kind of start there. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to compliment you. And you're very interesting to talk to. If I didn't have to go to some other callers, I would keep talking to you. I think everybody would want to hear you. And if you go to Facebook, I bet they'll tell you right now with some comments on how much fun you sound like you are and all that kind of stuff. But you've got to begin to lean into this anxiety, this social anxiety, this, man anxiety. And I can tell you, I've worked with a lot of people who've done this, and they do it well. And they do it well. And you're going to read some stories in that book about women that I worked with who said exactly the same things that you did. And now a bunch of them I'm still in touch with, and they're married and got kids and loving life. And they never thought that they would be able to feel comfortable in a dating situation, but they had to practice. Okay. So thank you for your call. Stay in touch with us. We'd like to hear how this goes. But remember, start safe, start safe, start safe. Take the risk out of it. Learn to talk to men. Learn to just feel comfortable. And then expand it from there and get somebody like a professional helping you along the way. Okay. Speaking of dating, dating is awesome. My wife and I always say, the worst thing about being married is we had to give up dating because it was so much fun. We laugh about that all the time. Dating can be so much fun, so much fun. Anyway, we're going to go back to the phone. Speaking of dating, Carly is calling us from Lynchburg, Virginia, and she wants to talk about dating. Before I say hi, Carly, I'm going to tell everybody our number again, 844-940-2774. And I want to give a little plug for the show to get you to share it with your friends. And if we build a community here, then we can stay. But we need for you to help us get the word out. And maybe we'll even post something that you can share easily. I don't know, maybe Jessica on our team could see if that's possible. We actually got a comment about that. Some easy way to share it. You can always share the link. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all around there. And also go check out boundaries.me. I want everybody to go to the site boundary.me and look at it and become a subscriber. Come join us. We talk about this stuff in much deeper forms in the mini courses that I have on there, and building a great community. So come join us. Okay, so let's go find out the dating drama. I'm going to say that, Carly. I don't know you yet, but do you have any drama? You got some drama from dating? I want to hear some drama.
I got a great story for you.
Let's hear it. I love dating stories. I gotta tell you, I'll tell you a quick story real quick. The book, How to Get a Date Worth Keeping, I wrote that not on purpose. I was just out speaking in a period of time where a lot of women would come up to me after I'm speaking and say, ask me these dating questions like, why aren't we dating? And they were always like, nice and wonderful, attractive, smart, intelligent women. And they're going, why aren't we dating? And I go, I don't know why you're dating. And so I heard it so much, I did about a year or two of research. I said, I'm going to crack the code on this. Why are people that want to be dating not dating? And I started to study it. And that's what that book is about. I worked with dating groups all over the country for 2 years doing the research and wrote that book. And I'm going to tell you, I want to say thousands of people have written in and said, they worked the program and the book and now they're married and yay, way to go for them because they did it. So anyway, I love dating is why I'm saying all that. So what's your drama?
So, well, it's funny you should mention the book because I've been listening to you for a while now, and I was like, I have to read this book. He's literally talking about me. So I read the book in 2 days and was like, okay, I need to start doing this. I need to really start like putting myself out there because I'm a counselor and I've been using my profession and like my busyness to like kind of just not avoid the whole idea of dating and realizing that I am the problem. Oh no, can you hear me?
Yeah, but I tried to turn up the volume a little bit and I lost you. So I don't know. Can you hear me? I got you back. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So wait a minute.
How much of that did you not
First of all, you get the Caller of the Day award because you read the book in 2 days. But go ahead. So you're hiding behind this excuse of I'm too busy today. Is that what you were doing?
Yes. Yeah. Like, and as a counselor, I felt like it's really hard to put myself out like on dating apps and things like that because I felt like, what if a client swipes, and sees me? Like, I don't know. I just felt like really awkward about it.
That's a little awkward.
Yeah, it's a challenge of the profession for sure. So as of May 1st, though, I was like, okay, I'm going to go and like meet at least 5 guys a week and like really put myself out there. Now, because of COVID, I joined a dating app and it's been good. I got my 5 names. I was like, I need to tell Dr. Cloud. I got my 5 names in my first week.
You get double Caller of the Day. You're doing what it says do.
Yes, and it's been really, really good. And I've been learning a lot about myself. I've been like keeping track in a journal and like just kind of doing some self-monitoring. And then I got asked out to coffee. So of course, like you said in your book, I went and super like, I don't know this guy from Adam, but why not go on for coffee? It's nothing. And we had a really good time. Like there was nothing necessarily bad about the date in general, as much as like, I felt like he was texting way too much beforehand. I let him know right up front, like, hey, I don't really text much before I meet people. I don't want to overinvest before like I know someone. And then we hung out at the date and it just didn't click for me. He was a nice guy, but it didn't work out for me. And so long story short, I left and I even again stated like, I don't really text a lot if I don't know what I want. And he's like, well, I hope to hear from you again. I thought that's so great. Maybe he won't text again and I'll be good. Not even like 15 minutes after I left the date, he texted, had a great time. And I responded and I was like, had a great time too. Thanks for the coffee. And then it was like right away, like I would love to see you again. Would you be open to seeing me again? And I did not know what to say because I was like, I really don't want to see him again, but how am I going to word this? So I asked a few friends, they helped me out. I worded something kind of nice. And I said, I just realized like we're not on the same page and like I don't want to waste your time or your intentionality. So I really wish you the best in this season.
Now you get triple Caller of the Day.
He wrote back though, awesome. Okay, it gets really good. Dr. Cloud, you're gonna die. He wrote
down
back
the road.
He said, can we be friends? Or what about friendship? Or no friendship, something like that. And I like didn't know what to do because I just don't really want to be friends, but I'm not going to be like, sorry, I don't want to be your friend. Like,
why? Wait a minute. Whoa. Why? Say, how about this?
I didn't know what to say back.
How about just say, that's very nice. Thank you for the offer. I don't need, it's so easy.
I know, it's awkward, right?
No, it's. I mean, it can be. I would say, you know what? I've really got a really full plate of my relationships and friends right now, and I'm not looking to form any new friendships. I'm going to spend the time with the people that I have, and thank you for the offer. But it's nice to meet you. I wish you well. Bye.
Okay, so that was my bad. So he got upset that I didn't respond. Right? This is the problem. this is the best part of the whole thing, though. I got a Venmo request. He wanted his money back from the coffee he bought me.
You are kidding me.
I about like died. It was so funny. I laughed so hard, and I just paid him and then blocked him.
A date refund? I've never heard of a date refund.
Well, I know how to pick them, huh? This is why I'm single.
No. Come on, don't give me that. No. Every person that's not single has gone through dates that they didn't want to keep around forever. Hopefully, right? You didn't marry your prom date, right? So, Venmo.
I think I need to put this on my profile for my next date, like refundable first dates.
No, what I would say is no refunds.
No refunds, no changes.
Oh my gosh, he wants a refund. I wouldn't give him a refund. I'd say, because mainly I wouldn't want him having my Venmo account, I think.
Yeah, I blocked that.
But seriously, I just would say I wouldn't worry about it. I'd move on. But here's the main thing to me about your story. Sometimes people, the right one, whatever that means, comes along early and fast. And I know people that married their high school sweetheart and have had incredible lives. Okay. It's very, very rare. And also in the dating world, generally speaking, dating is just like in almost anything else in life, unless you're in an arranged marriage scenario. It's like anything else in life. It's a process, where people look around and experiment, getting to know different kinds of people and this and there, and they'll date one for a little while and they figure, you know what, this just isn't it. And it's always, as I said in the book, you got to get your numbers up.
Right.
Because here's what I want for you. I want you to get, and whatever you call the word, forget marriage for a second, but let's just call it, like I'm dating this person exclusively. I wouldn't want you to get there until there's somebody that stands out in a crowd, right? And so we got to develop a crowd for somebody to stand out. A crowd of one, anybody can stand out in a crowd of one. And so I want you to normalize going out on a lot of dates that don't go anywhere.
That's the plan.
Well, but you sound so capable of doing that. So there you go.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm definitely like learning so much about myself in this, and then also like, wow, I have some great stories to share. So for all the other single people out there, go read the book and then go get some good stories.
You know what? You can probably, if you go on Facebook, you can probably find some other people to trade stories with. I got to tell you a funny story about this. When I was doing the New Life Radio program back when the book came out, there was a woman that worked there, and she was so cool, just loved her to death. And so I wrote this book, and so we're at a New Life event one time, and I said, so she was 40, and I was asking her about her dating life. She goes, "Are you kidding? I haven't been on a date in like 3 years." And I said, I literally said to her, and in this case it fit, this wouldn't fit everybody, but I said to her, "Okay, that's pathetic. What is your problem?" She goes, I just hadn't been out on it. I said, "Well, there's no reason for that unless you don't want to. Do you want to be dating?" She said, "Well, yeah, I want to. I said, "All right, we're going to fix this." So what we did was we actually brought her onto the radio show to chronicle her, sort of like a reality show through the process. And so I made her work the program, and she got with the program, and we get progress reports and all this. And then one day she texts me and she says, "I found him." And roll the clock forward. I ended up doing their wedding, and now they're happily married all these years later, and they have a kid. But here's the thing. I brought her up on a stage, and she didn't know I was going to ask her this, and we announced that she was engaged as part of this whole thing. And I said, "What number was he?" And she said, "I can tell you because I keep a log." She said, "I don't know, but I keep a log." She was on one of the dating services, and she scrolled through her phone. Guess what number he was?
I don't know, like 100? I don't know. Was it a big number?
It was 61, I think.
Wow.
How about that? But 61 lunches. I mean, there's 20 lunches and 20 dinners in every month. So if you see dating as not a big deal and I'm just going to lunch, or I'm just going to go on a bike ride with somebody, I'm just going to get to know a lot of different people and then get involved in life and go do things that you like. And all these ways that people, what I found out in my research, especially in the faith community, people would see church as the place where they were going to find somebody to date. And in all of my research, that rarely happens. And all the married people, it rarely happens because it's the same group over and over and over again. They had to do the things the book talks about. So anyway, Carrie, I want to hear from you. I want you to call back and tell us how this is going.
I definitely will. Absolutely.
All right. And this is going to be fun to follow. Okay. But get your numbers up. Get your numbers up.
Very hard to do during quarantine, but I'm going to try.
Well, I know. I've never really researched this in COVID dating. We do have a single friend. Tori and I have a single friend that we met through some mutual friends, and he was kind of ending a dating relationship. And I'm sorry, I got to get to some other callers, or I'd talk about this all day with you. But he was ending one, and so we've kind of been walking through the process with him in COVID land. He's telling us about COVID dating, and they're doing it. I mean, there's social distancing and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of an interesting scenario because in some ways it forces people to talk and get to know each other, in some good ways that they wouldn't do in the normal dating world. All right, Carrie, triple caller of the day. Doesn't mean I hadn't loved my other callers. It just means that there's some good stuff going on there. So, you know what? Here's what I love. You know what I love? This is why I love what I do. I just love it's like I get to watch people perform in life, to go from hurting to not hurting. That's a performance path. That's like winning a Super Bowl. To go from anxious to non-anxious, from addicted to not addicted. It's so much fun to see people grow. And I love it when people go, I'm going to go challenge this area of my life. And so to hear you guys doing that, I just love it. It's why I love this program. I love our audience. I love to see your comments on Facebook and Instagram and the stuff you're doing, the communities, the way you're, coming around each other. So cool. So cool. 844-940-2774 is the number for the Dr. Cloud Show. Also, and remember, go to boundaries.me. Boundaries.me. That's where you can find out all sorts of information about the kind of things, the next steps you can take. There's 60-something, what we call mini courses on there, little courses of how to go do this and that, whether it's dating or extended family or in-laws or marriage or whatever it is. Good stuff. Boundaries.me. Okay, let's go back to the phone, and we're going to see what's going on with Bridget, who's calling us from Canada. I have come to love all the Canadians that have been calling in on this program. We get a lot of calls from Canada. I don't know why that is. But you Canucks up there are making me smile. So, Bridget, are you there?
That's good. I am here.
All right. What are we doing?
Yes, I'm doing okay. And how are you?
I'm pretty well today, actually. I got a haircut. That helped.
You, you got a haircut. I can't watch
Yeah.
you and talk at the same time because I'm on my phone. So,
That's all
but
right.
I'm sure it looks fine.
I promise you're not missing much. It just feels better.
Oh.
Okay. So tell me how I can help you.
Okay. So basically the question is I've been really struggling a lot in the last couple of years with sexual thoughts and promiscuity. This all comes, it just started, like I say, a few years ago. And just to give you a cold note on, a bit of my background. So, I'm 44 years old. I was married for 18 years. My husband cheated on me, and then that dissolved the marriage there. I was raised by a single mom in a Christian home. During that time when I was here.
How long have you been divorced?
So I've been legally separated, not divorced, but legally separated for, I believe, 8 years now.
8 years of a legal separation.
Yeah.
Why is it in whatever you would call that pause land?
It's mostly because, like, for myself, it's more of a cost issue because it costs, approximately $1,500 to go from a legal separation to a divorce. And so I just signed to have the legal separation so that, so that the documents would show that I can go back to my previous status. And he's moved on. He's, I have no interest at all in renewing that relationship. He has someone else, the person that he was unfaithful with, and they have a child now together. So it's more of a cost thing to get the divorce. So,
$1,500. I mean, that might be worth, working a little extra to kind of clean that up, so you can really, 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 even psychologically, in other ways, move on. But having said that, tell me your question.
So like I said, I was, I after that relationship ended, I kind of walked away from the Lord. I did walk away from the Lord. I was very upset, very angry, and hurt. And I ended up in a
betrayal like that can do a lot of things to you.
Oh, yes. And so I was a mess. I ended up, in another relationship for 5 years with, an unsafe person. And that relationship was very controlling, very toxic. I completely lost myself in that relationship. I finally, after months of counseling, got the guts to tell the person to leave. And I haven't looked back since. But ever since that relationship ended, which was about 3 years ago, I've come back to the Lord, but I've struggled so much ever since then with, sexual thoughts on a daily basis, promiscuity. And I just can't seem to, I read the word, I pray, I've read, 3 of your books. I read the word. I watch Gateway Church every day. I feel like I'm stuck.
When you say what promiscuity, what does that mean? Are you having multiple relationships out there? Just sexual?
Not right now. No, not right now, but I had. And with that comes, the thoughts that, that I'm ashamed of every day. I feel like I'm fighting these thoughts, and I can't think to, the word says, think on these things. And I try to do that. And I just, it's a constant battle.
Well, what are the thoughts?
Like the constant need of a man. I don't know why.
Okay. All right. Just stop for a second.
Sure.
There's nothing in the Bible that says the Bible is going to reading the Bible will substitute your need for a man.
Okay.
In fact, it says the opposite.
Okay.
It does. It's go back all the way, when God created them, he said, And when there was just one of them, he said, that's not good.
Yeah.
You need somebody, and that goes both ways, right? And so here's the thing, and I'm so glad you called, because
it took everything.
so many.
I'm so ashamed.
What's that?
Like I said, it took everything for me to do, because it's something that's very shameful. You know.
Oh, Bridget, that's not. I understand you feel that way, but I don't know what has made you feel that way or who's made you feel that way. And I would expect there's a lot of dynamics that could go into this. I wish we had more time to go into all of them, but I want to tell you, at least from one voice, your desire for relationship and your desire for a man, there's nothing wrong with that. And that is just normal. Not only is it normal, but it's something God created you with. Okay. And so to battle it in being judged for it is just horrible. I mean, it'd be like, it would be like feeling bad that you have an appetite for lunch. Okay. It's normal. So I want to tell you that's normal. Now, here's what happens, and I want you to think about this. You were raised, you said, without a dad in the home, right?
Yeah.
And so every human has a longing for a dad. Every human. It's like I started the show talking about, did you hear the piece I did on mothering?
No, because I was working. I just called in just a few minutes before.
Okay. Well, that's a normal hunger. And in a good scenario, there's a dad that's there to fill that hunger and that longing for this, man's love. And it's not sexual, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's a normal thing that we all need. Now, what happens later, you get that all those good things you get from a daddy's love become part of your identity and your ability to see bad men and go, I don't want that. I want this. See, it's being with good love that helps us recognize counterfeit love. And sometimes when you miss that, a couple of things remain in which you've experienced a hunger for male attention and validation and love and connectedness and strength and all those things that validates also a lot of who you are. You have this hunger for that. And a lot of times you get to be an adult or even a teenager, and the only place to find that is when somebody comes along and offers it in many times sexual ways. And you see this all the time, that women will find themselves prey to not good men, and they're really giving away their bodies just to get love, and the man is not showing up with love.
Yes.
It's just hurtful shallowness, right? So I say all this to say this, that many, many times over what you're experiencing is this hunger, this what's coming out in a sexualized desire. Obviously, a lot of that's just normal, but sometimes our needs can get over sexualized because we've learned to meet that deeper need, which is really for male validation and love, to sexualize it. And that's kind of the way the fantasy world is going to meet it. And I would want you to do this. I would want you to first of all, take a lot of that desire and interpret it as, you know what, I just need some men in my life that love me. And start to get that hunger met. And primarily, that should be done first, developmentally, the way this goes. That should be done in a family, non-sexual way, just like it is
Right.
when we grow up. So I would want you to find a setting with some really good men that are off limits.
Okay.
And begin to open up and get vulnerable and I don't think this is a weird way to say it, to get fathered by some men, even that are your own age, right? That's what our brothers and sisters as adults do for us. They heal mommy and daddy wounds. Because the child inside, if you're in a small group and there's some men in there that love you and validate you and say you're really worth being loved, you deserve to be loved, you're awesome, and they validate you, then you learn from them what real love feels like. And then in the dating arena, you can start to pick the right kind of men. But I just want to see you get in a community and some close relationships where just this need for male validation and male hunger, where that gets filled up. That's what I would want for you first.
Okay.
And not feel bad that hunger is coming out in sexual fantasies. That's just, it's just like the way you're wired. You think as an adult woman, I need a man. Well, it comes out in sexual ways. Well, that doesn't mean you have to go have all the love in the world only in sexual ways. I mean, you can find this in other ways. That's what I would want for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I am so sorry that you felt bad about sexual desire to begin with, but also that the power that it's had is sort of like sex has had to carry the burden of this entire need for male love. And I'd like for you
Yes,
to find out.
I don't understand, and I didn't understand why that was, and like why it was so. It's almost like that's the way that I felt. The only way I could show that I was worth it, and then
Right.
if I, performed well,
Right.
almost being like a Barbie doll / Martha
Right.
Stewart, being perfect all the time. But
Right.
both my relationships ended and were terrible. And I just been struggling ever since with, just trying to figure out what it is that, I'm doing wrong.
Well, yeah. Here's again, I'm going to say this: you're not doing anything wrong in your desires. You're desiring out of deprivation and woundedness. If you say, "What am I doing wrong?" The wrong is, I don't even want to call it wrong. What you haven't done up until this point is become aware of, wow, maybe I need to heal this wound in a different way. And I'm going to give you a verse, okay?
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
And I want you to go look this up. It's in James, the book of James. It's in the first chapter. And it says, when we go through all these trials and all this stuff, that we need to ask God for wisdom to help us understand what's going on in this issue in my life. And that's where you are now. And I love it that you say, you need to figure this out, because that's right. But here's the verse. He says that he will give you wisdom. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
He will give you wisdom. And here's the phrase I want you to hear. He will give you wisdom without finding fault. I love that description about God, that he will listen to you say, I've been looking for love in all the wrong places, as the old song used to say. God, help me with this. And he will come alongside you and say, my daughter, I know. And it's not your fault that you felt that way. And I want to help you. And so I want to relieve you of feeling at fault and condemned and shamed for this, because it's a God-given need for love. And I want you to find a safe community, maybe a therapy group, maybe a therapist, wherever. And let's get this daddy wound healed. And then you'll be able to offer all that you bring to a good man.
Yes.
It's more than just sex, right?
Yes.
Okay. I've got to run. I wish we could
Thank
talk
you
longer.
so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, God bless you, and may He come alongside you and heal you of this. Thank you for your call. This is the Dr. Cloud program. We started talking about mother love. If you go back, if you're finding this on Facebook or YouTube or wherever it is, you might go back and listen to the first 10 minutes of the program where I talked about this hunger. That can be for a mom or a dad or both. Some people didn't have either, but we need it. We need female love in our lives, and we need male love in our lives. And we don't need females that wound us, and we don't need males that wound us. And when that happens, there's pain and there's also deprivation. But what I know to be true, I'm not even going to say I believe this. I know this. This is sure as I know I'm sitting here. That those deprivations and those wounds can be healed. But they get healed by our getting into safe places where we can get that kind of love that we might have missed out on the first time. And you can learn what the real thing looks like. So when the counterfeit comes along, you go, no, that's not what I'm looking for. So once again, we are out of time. I'm always wishing at the end of this program, I wish we could take more callers. You guys are so awesome. But it's been great to talk to you today. A couple of things to wrap up here. I want you to share the program, share the link with people, because if we build an audience here, we're going to keep doing this. But to do it, shout out to my team, Jessica, Greg, Albie. You guys are awesome. You make all this work, but it does take a lot of work on their part. And so we need to know that, there's an audience out there, and we need you to share. We don't have any advertising to help this. So need you to do that. So thank you. And also go to boundaries.me. The kind of things I've been talking about and do talk about on this program, on boundaries.me, you become a subscriber, and there's a gazillion little mini courses, little video things that I've, recorded about these kinds of problems and how they're resolved and what the next step is and all of that. And so go to boundaries.me and check that out. Okay. It's great to be with you. Stay safe and take a next growth step, whatever that might be for you. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.